use Get Excited / Mystic Shot or 2 Mystic Shot. Yeah, going with killing Kindred right now, knowing, so using a lot of their removal to be able to remove Kindred. We're actually just going to use this because Kindred's going to die anyway, and I'd rather do this to negate their ability to be able to use Fizz. Like, it means that Fizz can't go elusive, like, unless that, it forces them to have to use that last spell in their hand, because that'll fit. Atrocity coming out. Crumble! All the big men stuff. Yes, no, Fizz, if you want to come at me, brother, you've got to come at me in your form that you currently are in. Hello, everyone. Gomez here for LAN Upchuck with another deck for you today. We are working with Nasus and Kindred today, so let's get in there with the Slay Them deck. So, as I said, this deck is called Slay Them, and definitely Kindred has been one of the most unique and crazy kind of champions to come out of this new expansion, which obviously there's so many different ways that Kindred can be used. Its ability of using that mark and working with Slay Mechanic Shadow Owls has got so many different ways of killing its own units, as well as being able to kill things from the opponent's side of the field. I've seen some people playing this in which is like a Karina control, and I'm probably going to experiment with that as well, because it seems to work so well in there. But I like the idea of trying to make a Nasus deck with Kindred, just because obviously they do both work off of the Slain mechanic. I know that there are some people who are making an Undying deck. I've definitely seen people doing that, and yet again, I do want to experiment with that because I love Undying. Undying is one of my favorite cards. But this deck today is we're just working with these two, and the reason why I like this deck is because not only does it just have the ability to do quite nicely on the board and get yourself through, and obviously false trade outs, there's a little bit of fearsome synergy, but not only that, there is also the ability of just getting Nasus up to a point. If you level him, giving him that spell shield just means it's really hard for your opponent to deal with direct removal, and then atrocity and Dogman into the core is just such a great finisher with that spell shield. We already knew that a unit with spell shield, like all the Celestials, if you were to try to atrocity any of the ones which you got spell shield, it's really hard counter for your opponent to have to deal with that. The reason for that being is because when they've got spell shield, it takes additional removers, right? It can't just be done by one hush. It takes 2 hushes, or it takes 2 frostbites, because they've got to get through that first layer of thing and then do the spell. So it makes it harder for removal. But yeah, it just seems to work out so well. I do love Kindred in terms of their flavor, as well as Nasus is really good as well. So this whole deck is working off of slaying things. So I'm not gonna say this is the best version of this deck. I do definitely think there are ways of improving this. As I said, I know that there are people running Undying, and I would love to honestly make a variant of this which is running Undying, but I will explain some of the things that are going on here. So we're actually working with a little bit of fearsome synergy, getting that early game fearsome going on here, as well as the fact that obviously Bark Beast can be quite a nice unit to hit on the board straight away with all the stuff that we're going to be killing. Hapless Aristocrat just is a lovely blocker. He makes for a number of which are nice blockers, as well as the fact that obviously he's a unit that we can glimpse. He's a unit that we can throw down what's his face, Crumble on top of. It's also a unit that we could potentially do this, but obviously that could be said for Curse Keeper, as well as the fact that Prey that gets created by a fading icon. So there's loads of different things that can be done here. We've got a significant amount of draw. I've actually decided to run this card. The reason why I've been running this card is because it is a surprisingly good form of counterplay, in terms of the fact that if you're playing against a deck where you know they're going to be dropping something down, like for example, you know that your opponent's going to be dropping Kindred down, or you know your opponent's going to be dropping Twisted Fate down, or Aphelios Moon, man. The ability of playing this and then meaning, crap, I can't just immediately play that unit, because if I do, they're going to be vulnerable, because obviously this landmark makes things vulnerable. So stalling out your opponent in terms of when they want to play something, because you know what your opponent's playing, and you know, well, they're most likely going to play this unit, the ability to actually stop them. And even like just the ability of making something vulnerable so that you can decide where it trades off on your side of the field and also make sure that you can kill it either with Nasus, or you can just do a direct trade with something which can actually trade with it, because obviously the slay mechanic works off of as long as you're killing a unit, even if your unit loses its life in the trade, you have still forced out that damage and killed it. So it works really well. I do also really like Mask Mother for the ability of obviously killing a unit, gain its stats and keywords. That seems to work really well because of the fearsome keyword it already has. I'm not actually giving it any keywords in this thing. Most of the time this is either to activate a Curse Keeper if I need it to, or once we use Spirit Leech, which is actually a really good kill mechanic to draw to, being able to Mask Mother on top of the Leech, just getting that fearsome unit up to a 3/6 by absorbing those stats is just like a really powerful move. We're obviously running Rite of Negation. As I said, it's a really powerful counter spell, a lot better. It is like Deny on steroids. And we're running Crumble, like so different things. That Spirit Fire is such a good thing for when dealing with aggro. Just the ability of just boom, yeah, none of that, all that damage is gone, but also most of those things are going to be dying the next turn. This is really good removal as well as the fact that with how many things we're slaying, this is such a good card and move. There's so many times where I've actually seen somebody, if we've slayed enough things, somebody plays Watcher and then just playing this, because Watcher still counts as a follower, so you wait and then boom, second that Watcher hits the ball, throw this down, and that Watcher is gone, and means that it doesn't attack forward and works very well. Obviously, you could kill Watcher through a number of different things, be it through just Crumble or whatnot, but it's actually just proven to be quite nice counter. So this is the deck list that I'm running. I'm not saying this is the definitive list. I definitely think there are improvements that can be made, but it worked out really well for me. And as I said, the games you're going to be seeing happened all on stream. So shameless plug time. If you want to catch the action live, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to catch the action live, I stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, as well as the fact that obviously there's a Discord link down below if you want to get in there. If you decide to run this deck, please let me know how it goes. Or if you want me to make any changes, let me know in the comment section down below. But honestly, thank you all so much for watching. Everyone who subscribes, everyone who follows. I've got an end of year goal of hitting 5,000 subscribers / followers, and we are well on the way to that on YouTube. Twitch is starting to catch up, but on YouTube, we're nearly basically halfway there. So honestly, thank you all so much for your support. It makes my like a day, just waking up in the morning, seeing that how many people have viewed my video or how many people have commented. Honestly, your comments, it lifts me up. And I thank you all so much for that, because you are making a little crazy mustachio curly head man's dreams come true. So thank you so much for that. I hope you enjoy this deck, and I hope you enjoy how this deck went for me, on stream. So this is how it went in a couple of matchups. If something's not functioning properly, you shouldn't take advantage of it. Because basically all that's gonna do is enrage your opponent. And while some people might see that as a plus, at the end of the day, you want the game to be fair and balanced on both sides, and that, at least that's how I feel it should be. So I'm not going to exploit something that I consider to be a bug at this point. I'd rather report it. Oh, obviously, so don't abuse a glitch. It's just the worst thing. That's what I mean. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I'd rather, to me, right, this sounds really pathetic, but to me, a card game is GG. Cheers to you as well. A card game is, it's all about a fun interaction and trying to outsmart your opponent with what is what is intended in the game. Using cheats or loopholes, I just don't feel like that is playing the game. I know there are people who would consider that playing the game, but to me, that's not playing the game. I'd rather lose fairly than win dishonestly. I know that makes me sound so sad, but it's honestly God true. So what we're gonna do here is potentially this is their Scargrounds move, or this is their Brom move. What I could do here is potentially throw down this on top of you. Gives you some stats. The only problem is that it doesn't get me past this is my main problem. Like the health stat wise, that doesn't get me past that. I'm willing to play this instead. Give myself a little bit of draw action going on. Transfusion is a move that deck definitely runs. A true Valiant, welcome. So there's Scargrounds. We do have the ability of using Crumble. So obviously their whole deck like works really nicely with Scargrounds. So actually removing that,
we'll take what we need.
We take what we need, and feel that we need to. I feel that needs to be done right now before it gets too late. Obviously, there is certain moves they could use as counterplay from Nasus in order to do damage into this before this happens. So maybe we should have done this on top of. I mean, technically, their health. They've not got the best health stats. Let's face it. A true Valiant, welcome. So yeah, there we go. So getting that buff in before it's too late, like getting the tough buff coming at me. But yes, no, I mean, obviously this is going to be an issue. It's okay. I'm gonna hope that I find the legitimate things that I need to find. Just gonna let this die here. It's absolutely fine. That boy, a true Valiant, welcome. Thank you so much, Kipper. Thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're enjoying your time here and watching this foolishness unfold in front of your eyes. So thank you so much for that follow. It honestly means a lot. So honestly, thank you. I need draw right now. Right now, draw is like the most important thing that I need. So trying to find my options. We've not found Kindred. I mean, found Nasus. But Nasus is not exactly a big boy right now. We've given another unit on their side of the field a little bit of problems. We could actually play. So it's one of those things right now. We need to think to yourself, like, what is the better plan here? Do I just play Nasus onto this field so that I know that he becomes a big boy who has, like, you know, big boy stats, like, who just, like, you know, becomes a legitimate problem for my opponent? Is that how I do this? Or do I try to, like, make him slightly bigger by, like, using you to absorb? Using this to, like, absorb things like this. I mean, obviously, the thing that you always need to remember is our opponent has got so many different moves along the lines of transfusion and moves such as that we do honestly have to be careful. So much of me's thinking, do I just throw this forward and try to grab this Raider here? And then part of me's thinking there's so many different moves that my opponent could do that would make that problematic, that I'm willing, because that deck has got mostly burst speed stuff, and Rite of Negation obviously is not going to help me against all that burst speed stuff they could potentially throw at me. So lots of damage everywhere, and not a drop to drink. Feel that my plan here is at least try to deal with some of my problems. Not the best way of dealing with my problems, but at least try to deal with some of my problems. Actually, I guess I keep you back for Crumble purposes. So keeping that back just to allow myself the option of Crumble. Oh, there's my significant damage there. Significant damage. Obviously, I guess I give myself the option here of just going, well, none of that, and removing that from the field of play just to at least keep myself somewhat still okay. Obviously, they could have Troll Chant. Troll Chant does legitimately get them out of that situation right now. Or even... Actually, I guess no, would you? Transfusion wouldn't get them out of that, but that would... Yeah, but obviously, yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We can't use the Crumble move anymore. The Crimble Crumble move, but we do still have Nasus. And we've got 2 Nasuses. What's better than 1 Nasus? 2 Nasus. His ability of using this, right? So potentially picking you, striking in here. Obviously, actually, wait. I guess like because it's only upon a kill, right? Is it just a strike move? If it dies, so. There's certain moves my opponent could use to get past this, and so I'm more willing to go a slightly different way about this, just to try to make that a little bit more harder for them to be able to do. So going like this, boom, swing off of the axe, and that is now getting Nasus into the point where he could potentially level and take down stats right now. And obviously, him leveling just means the atrocity move becomes so much more nicer, because that atrocity move now means that he would have like a spell shield. If he can hit him with this, boom, that's the level up, which means he now has lovely level up animation, but it also means he now has that spell shield, meaning it's harder for them to counterplay when it comes to an atrocity move if we can make big boy Nasus. So that is how this deck is supposed to run, is that we're working with Kindred and Nasus and making it so that we are trying to get Nasus into this point where that's enough. Oh, and there's Kindred. So it's a shame. It's a shame that I can't play Kindred. I guess I could play Kindred onto the field of play, but I can't use Crumble at the same point. I wish I had Crumble that I could use at the same point. It's just like I can still use Right of Negation, but obviously, I mean, GG. I mean, my opponent knows. My opponent knows what's coming at them. So honestly, GG. I raise a glass to you as well, my friend. It was getting rid of that Scargrounds in the early game, but GG. Honestly, really good game. Please tell me this is going to be a deck which is running the dice. I look forward to seeing it. Okay, so I'm actually going to keep Spirit Fire right now. It's a good counter to Twisted Fate if Twisted Fate drops. Good counter to Twisted Fate, and yeah, I'm willing to see how this goes down. So immediately attacking forward. So boom goes the dynamite, and there we go. So trying this up. There's plenty of killing left. I've actually now got to use you more defensively than offensively, because basically we need to be trying to slow down that gangplank level up. So I'm willing to take that. I don't want to make that trade, but I have to make that trade. So, trying this out right now, because literally I need to just have a unit on the board. I could have waited and saved a bit of mana, because bear in mind that obviously, if we save the mana from this turn, it gives us the option for Spirit Fire. So I'm actually just going to leave this turn, see what happens. But obviously next turn we could Spirit Fire, depending on how much our opponent develops. So they could throw Twisted Fate out, for example, next turn, and then Spirit Fire doesn't seem like a bad move. We'd still take 1 damage coming in from the Butcher, but it's damage I am willing to take. Just gonna pass the turn. They can develop, like, the more two stats they develop into, I'm actually fine with that. Actually fine. So I could do this. I feel like they know what's coming, and that's the reason. They know what's coming, and that's the reason why they've decided not to finish. So we could go for at least a bit of draw right now. I could have killed this unit. I know that they're doing damage into my core anyway, going into Gangplank. So I'm looking for answers. I'm looking for answers right now. So willing to pass the turn just to see if they play Twisted Fate, because obviously they could play Twisted Fate going into pick a card. So or they just play that. I mean, still there is the Twisted Fate possibility. There is still the Twisted Fate possibility. Part of me is honestly just considering, well, if they're going to Twisted Fate, they're going to Twisted Fate. But it's just that it's such a big counterplay. Okay, there you go. So they've used that now, which means they're out of Twisted Fate range, which means that I can play this unit. It was basically the fact that red card would have just been so devastating that I'm willing to wait. And then we could Kindred right now, going into the fact that we do have Glimpse. We do have Glimpse. We've got Spirit Fire as potential counterplay next turn. It's perfectly fine. So by doing this, it's only making this be the one with the mark. Actually, it now makes that one be the one with the marks. That's fine. I can live with that, because obviously this was going to die at the end of the turn anyway. So I don't actually mind them giving me. And that was actually one of my own cards as well. I don't mind that. Going with this. So a lot of draw. Monkeys! There must be dice. There must be dice in that deck, and honestly, well played to my opponent for playing such things. I love banter decks that work along like that. Like I've actually made a few of my own. Obviously, content-wise, I'm having to get out videos on. So yeah, for content-wise, I'm having to get out videos on decks which are doing new things with the new champions, but once they're done, expect to see like really silly decks, but obviously like the first content's got to be like new champions and things along those lines. But then boom, it's okay, all of the Butcher boys, All of the Butcher Boys are out. We could go into... As much as we think that Nasus would be a lot of fun. So they're definitely coming at me with a lot of damage here. Deal with you. And we could even use Spirit Fire just to deny... or do we actually want to deny them the ability to plunder right now? Do we want to deny them the ability to actually plunder into us? Because that could be the legitimate strategy here. Obviously, we open ourselves up to Twisted Fate, but we do still have a crumble move as being a potential option. So I'm willing to do this for just stopping the plunder bin from the immediate attack forward. So it then forces them to have to do an additional move or something in order to get that plunder. So I'm willing to do that. And obviously that is then being removed from the field of play as well. They could throw Twisted Fate yellow card down. They could have what's his face make it rain. They could have a number of things which makes things difficult for me right now, but I'm willing to hope, because obviously this would be the level up. This would be the level up. Potential parlay. Okay, right, so there we go. There's the level up. The lovely animation. That's such a good animation, right? Kindred's got such a lovely animation. Yeah, no, we get this going on. We get this going on. We could throw you out. So it feels like the better move here is actually, so although we could use Crumble, which technically we could do, because what you need to remember is right now the keg is the weakest. The keg is the weakest, meaning that that's what's going to get marked. So potentially actually just an immediate attack forward. An immediate attack forward is probably the better strategy right now, right? Potential our opponent uses Twisted into yellow card just to stun the Kindred. But what then we do is we go forward with the Cursed Keeper, grab this, and that makes Twisted Fate be the one who's got the problem. And then we also use a Crumble to get rid of the Gangplank. So we're opening up our different fields of play here. Let's see how this goes. I know what my strategy is. We just have to stick with it, people. Just have to stick with it. That's fine. I'm willing to accept that fact. I know that I'm going to be taking a lot of damage. Potentially doing this, it does mean that like they're saving their Gangplank's life anyway. But yeah, no, I feel that I'm willing to go forward because that's a lot of damage coming off of Kindred right now. Obviously, they can defend. They can defend themselves really well there. But it's okay. I'm willing to accept the charges because all we need to do right now is just throw a Crumble on top of there. At least we're getting rid of their Gangplank. Because obviously Gangplank would level next turn. Obviously our opponent could have another Gangplank. There's no doubt that our opponent could have another Gangplank. But Nasus is also starting to look like a really big boy right now. Really big boy. Really big. Oh my god, the dice. So that yes, they're gonna be stealing from me. I love it. I love the fact that somebody's playing dice. I, honest to God, love the fact that they're playing dice right now. I can't wait to make, like, I've got several decks already, like, planned with that. Stealing free cards from me. Stealing free cards. Ah, my cards! Obviously, we don't know what they've got. We need to hope for the best. But it's all good. We've got, what you like, you know, Kindred here again right now. Okay. Everyone, we're in an okay situation. Potentially just throwing Nasus out. Throw Nasus out and then just like, you know, got the big boy on the field. There's not a lot within Bilgewater itself. Obviously, they got Riptide Rex. I wish I had a Riot of Negation right now. They got Riptide Rex that could do a lot of damage onto the field, but I don't think the Riptide Rex is going to do enough into... The dice come back to me! I mean, we play Nasus. We play Nasus just because, you know, why the hell not right now? I've still got a Glimpse Beyond that I can use on this little meta. Aha! I love it. So, stealing 4 cards from me, but leaving themselves, even though they're stealing 4 cards from me, leaving themselves with very little in terms of, what's its face, like a defense for the next mighty attack which comes at them from the big Nasus man and Kindred. Although I love what they're doing and respect what they're doing, it's like, you know it's over, Yugi! I have the high ground! But let's see how we do. Making us wait for the glory. So yeah, throwing this out. Boom, 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 boom. It's all good. It's all good. I mean, technically, there's no reason not to go forward with all of them, right? There's no reason not to go forward with all. If anything, they would have got an additional attack because I couldn't block all the. So they actually would have got an additional card if they would have gone forward because there would have been. I wouldn't be able to block all the places, and then obviously like the last one would have finished you. So there was literally no reason for our opponent not to at least just go in there. Obviously, I know that my... Actually, wait, does my deck... Does my deck have a Ruination? I mean, obviously, yeah, that gives them the ability to nab another card from me. Does my deck have a Ruination? I mean, they could have also done that on top of that. Obviously, lots of cards, getting me down to 6. And we've now got to immediate... Oh, Twisted Fate burn, but big-ass Nasus coming right at you. Let's see how we do. Oh, I love it. I love the fact that my opponent is done. But honestly, GG. They have 20 health and we have 6. But honestly, well played. I love what you were doing. I love what you're doing there. What are we up against? Okay, Twisted Fate with Fizz. Classic. Do I want to keep this? Do I want to keep this to potentially... Because it is one of those cards which literally means that... do I play my Twisted Fate? Like, it's kind of a card which is an annoyance to deal with, right? It's kind of a card which is an annoyance to deal with for our opponent. That's why I don't mind playing it. So, I was going to say, wait, there's got to be a burst speed spell, right? Nobody does that move! That would have actually been a massive surprise to me, Yugi. If that would have been the biggest, like a surprise to them all if they would have just gone forward immediately with Fizz, no protection or anything, just that's a lot of elusives. That is a lot of elusive play. I can assume that this is the deck which is running Mind Meld. Spiritfire is such good counterplay to what my opponent does. Like, Spiritfire is just like, you know, the ultimate counter to the deck that we are currently up against. Just the ability that they can just fill everything onto the board, and then you go, none of that. So we want to wait, obviously. If we don't do anything, we can use Spiritfire next turn, because obviously full spell mana going into Spiritfire next turn. Obviously, our opponent gets a very lovely, juicy, elusive attack on us right now. Oh, they don't have a burst speed spell right now to be able to help themselves. But yeah, so you get a lovely elusive attack on us right now. But next turn, we could just immediately go into Spiritfire. I feel like what I want to do is I want to attack forward first. We attack forward first because it gives them the option to play Twisted Fate. They probably don't because they've got to realize that they've got board superiority right now. So, okay, or they just go more elusive on me. That's absolutely fine. So, we just do this and immediately remove their field of play. We could have waited for the attack turn. Like, there's no reason we couldn't have waited for the attack turn there. In all honesty, we could have just actually played a couple of units and then gone into the attack turn and done it then, like that. Because obviously we could have maybe baited out a Twisted Fate, and obviously baiting out a Twisted Fate would have just been a lot more legit. It's okay. It's okay. We've got the ability to either play Kindred or we can go with cards such as we could go cards such as this, just so that we basically mean if our opponent goes for playing their Twisted Fate or their Burble Fish, we are putting them at a distinct disadvantage of knowing the fact that they're going to be vulnerable. So I don't mind doing that. Because that just means that... So Twisted could drop with red card, but boom, we get another spider out of that, and boom, this turns into something which could then like deal with that, as well as the fact that obviously, if that were to happen... Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can beat that elusive. So it's okay. Kindred potentially, or do we just go big boy Nasus onto the field of play and basically forcing our opponent to just like know they've got to do something. I mean, obviously, like Twisted Fate yellow card, actually. Maybe that's not the best plan right now. Could play Kindred. I don't have a glimpse to be able to activate Kindred's thing, but I do have the ability of at least grabbing this, which means that it's obviously the slaying mechanic works on both sides of the field. So, but I mean, like if something dies, so expect Twisted. Expect to see Twisted right now is what I'm expecting. I'm actually just gonna go forward because obviously Twisted Fate red card would be an issue, and we're to go forward like this. Obviously, I guess we go forward with this one as well, because literally, if Twisted Fate red card is coming out, this one is doomed anyway. They could go Twisted Fate blue card and force the level, like, you know, force into that level up. But obviously we've got a number of things which can kill. So if they play Twisted Fate, like we can find ways of trying to deal with Twisted Fate. Is what my point is going to be. Oh, there we go. Another Zap Spray Fin coming at ya. Another Zap Spray Fin coming at ya. So potentially we see Twisted drop. Oh no, Burblefish. Okay. So because bearing in mind that Twisted would have had that that vulnerable stat line going into them. So boom, one down. Nasus is starting to look good as well. Okay. So we've got the ability here of potentially going into this card. I could go into this one, which at least gives me some draw. Nasus actually can't be played either way. I was thinking, do I play this because I can play Nasus, but Nasus can't be played. Like, I could play Nasus, but that would be my whole turn. And potentially there could be slight problems that could occur, which it could occur from this. So I'm actually going to go with the draw mechanic. Yeah, seems good. Seems good. I'll take it. So gives me a little bit more draw. That I've got that option there. This is actually such a good use against if they were to go for such a big board of Burblefish in one turn. Like if we can get that leveled up. And in a place where if they go for their big Burblefish turn, we can counter. That's obviously going to be the ideal situation. But obviously we shall see how this plays out. Kindred levels next turn, like levels from this. Or if they killed their own unit. So they could get excited their own unit. Or actually use use get excited / mystic shot or 2 mystic shot. Yeah, going with killing Kindred right now. Knowing, so using a lot of their removal to be able to remove Kindred. We're actually just going to use this because Kindred's going to die anyway, and I'd rather do this to negate their ability to be able to use Fizz. Like, it means that Fizz can't go elusive, like, unless that, it forces them to have to use that last spell in their hand, because that'll be atrocity coming out. Crumble! All the big men stuff. Yes, no, Fizz, if you want to come at me, brother, you've got to come at me in your form that you currently are in. We could use this card, or I could use this card going into this card. Right now, the only card that can defend is this, which we could actually. I feel like we go like massively fearsome on them, right? Also, the fact that we could actually legitimately throw Nasus out next turn, and that is also an option. I actually want these stats in a fearsome, because that stat line is so easy to kill that I'd rather just, like, you know, have that stat line in a fearsome. The only one who can defend fearsome is currently the Burblefish. How are we doing in terms of this? Okay, we're nearly there. Part of me is honestly considering, do I play Nasus or do we? I mean, we've got an atrocity move as well, right? We've got the ability to potentially atrocity. I'm actually gonna go with the. I'm actually gonna go with the long con. Actually, they could still mystic that, I guess. I mean, we're going with this. We're going with this plan. This is gonna be how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna believe this is gonna be a good enough strategy for myself. So they go down to 2. There is still the ability for atrocity, knowing the fact that that deck has got no way of healing itself. Obviously, Mystic Shot and Get Excited are things, but if this used Get Excited and Mystic Shot like quite extensively, they've used it quite extensively. Obviously, this has now allowed them to potentially draw into those options. So we could, we're gonna mother the mother. We're gonna mother the mother. And I'll tell you for why. Because now that means that stat-wise, we are getting them into a point where it's like, you know, it's a lot harder for them to counter the atrocity move that could be coming at them. So, because obviously, like I said, like although they've just used like Zap Spray, so they could have the option for removal, but slowly but surely, if they use that mass, it would require a true villain and welcome. It would require both of these cards right now being removal. It would require both of these cards right now being removal, and I'm willing to take the odds. I am willing to take the odds. Go for it. I mean, obviously, I said get excited, but it would force them to remove this zap if they. Yeah, that's right. They're GG. I said it would force them to remove that zap spray thing if they had, and that is it. GG. Well played to my opponent, playing the standard Fizz and Twisted, and obviously, yeah, we managed to get away through. What's his price? Okay, get rid of you, get rid of you. Keeping these two, because these are nice little, like, little units. Obviously, we're playing against Kindred as well, so we need to always bear that in mind. Always bear that in mind. Their one's gone slightly more aggressive, and they're playing Freljord. Playing Freljord in here, I'm guessing, for survivability? I'm going to assume it's for survivability, but I don't know. So, might as well throw this out. There's no reason not to throw this out and go forward with both of them. So, I mean, at this point, it's like solid. Go forward both of them. Obviously, our opponent could be running Butcher, Baker, and Candlestick Maker, which obviously just means they get a very good move here of increasing all that damage and coming at me quite aggressively. Or not even Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Maker, just legitimately a significant amount of damage. Oh, if only, I mean, technically we've got this move next turn, but obviously that's not actually going to remove, it's going to remove the Blighted Caretaker, but it's not going to remove the other two things, and that is a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage, which is immediately coming at me. Shadow Isles is famous for its immediate damage that can be done if you're not careful. Okay, so yet again, not exactly top deck the best here. Not top decking the best in terms of the fact that I'm not finding any of my kill stuff in terms of either for draw or just for the ability of just like being able to help Curse Keeper out here. So slight problematics. Technically, they could have still killed the Spiderling there, but I guess they didn't want to buff up my Bart Beast. Okay. We need to at least keep a significant amount of mana to stay off some of the damage, but we've got a lot of damage coming in next turn. A lot of damage is coming in next turn. We can still use it. Actually, the fact that I'm 1 mana away from at least being able to put another body on this field of play. Okay, so obviously we can't defend here. We've got no. I mean, I've got a way of killing you now. I've got a way of killing you, but it's too late. Okay, my opponent. I mean, my opponent is when your opponent needs to make the decisions of what is best for them. Might as well throw Spiderling in, throw this in. So basically what we're doing there is we're at least getting that increased up. And yeah, everything else is going to be dying, including this, because obviously taking that additional point of damage there. So I'm okay with that. I mean, obviously, we're still a lot of damage, but that is a lovely turnaround move in a manner of speaking, or at least like what I'm going to consider to be a turnaround move, but is most likely still just going to be the inevitability of going towards my death. So there we go, boom. There goes the Spirit Leech, giving themselves a bit of draw and killing going on. COVID shot. But at least you're getting the COVID shot, buddy boo. Practice poking yourself with a toothpick to prepare yourself, I guess. Okay. So we could play Nasus. Nasus is a big boy. Not as big as I would like Nasus to be, if I'm going to be 100% honest. And obviously I feel like the better move here is to expand the field of play. Expand the field of play by allowing us to defend in more places. I feel like that is the better move to do here. Obviously, like, you know, my opponent's got a number of kill moves. They could just play Kindred.
The chains, they never
stop. Really good counterplay in terms of the fact that my opponent has got like so many different options open to them in terms of the fact that they can throw this, in front of this, or they can throw like that. Basically, they can get a lot of damage in, right? That's what I'm thinking. But if I can make more things be slain, I get slowly but surely closer to this, which means that like a slightly bigger ball, I'm not 100% like having a problem with. I'm gonna say that that's going to be a benefit to me, hopefully. Obviously, yeah, they're doing a lot of trades, and actually it's not good for me, but my big ass doggo is getting big ass, so that's it. Oh, they're actually running the Undying in that deck. We should again said Undying with Kindred. It's a really good move to use. It's okay. I'm gonna hope. I've still got health at this moment in time. I'm not 100% in the worst case scenario right now. Of course, I mean they're going wide on me, but it's okay. Still got. I'd like to think I've still got options. They're going very wide on me, and it's gonna force me to have to like work out what I'm gonna do. I wish I had another Spirit Fire in hand right now. Another Spirit Fire in hand would have just been boom. None of that stuff's doing damage to me at this moment in time. if I had another Spirit Fire in hand. Obviously, I don't. But if I did, I could use this in order to kill this and kill something on my opponent's side of the field. If my opponent... Yeah, so they're going wide on me right now, which is... it will be significant. I have to play Nasus. The reason why I have to play Nasus is because it then forces... I mean, potential vengeance move... Potential vengeance move or potential kill move, but the reason that I have to play Nasus is because, depending on how they do it, if Nasus attacks and kills one of their units first, it takes down the rest of their attacks by 1. So, by Nasus actually attacking in, he takes basically some of their stuff down to not doing any damage whatsoever, which, well, I say, well, only 2 units, and obviously, so what they should do is they should put... Wait, how are they doing this? But obviously, we're going to be taking down some of that damage, right? We're going to be taking down some of that damage. So, as much of me wants to have that going in first, I feel that maybe the better plan here is... or we could, I guess we could. So if we do here, we survive with 7. If we do here, we survive with 7. It's very menial, so I might as well survive with 7 and not kill the Undying for my opponent. That seems like a good plan. So we're gonna go like that, survive on 7, making everyone look at that level up, and then also just decreasing everyone's attack by 1, meaning that is now boom, 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 boom. Not doing too much for me. They should have actually attacked forward with this, because actually that would have been... I wouldn't have been able to defend that damage. So they should have gone forward that additional attack. And obviously now, my opponent has no fearsome right now. No, I mean, obviously, potential ruin... Like, I mean, actually, Ruination doesn't even matter right now. Ruination doesn't even matter. But we're going to go forward like this, because basically it is meaning that they cannot defend because of fearsome.
I know what lurks in the shadows.
And we could just go with the boom goes the dynamite, right? Boom goes the dynamite, because why the hell not at this moment in time just go boom directly to core. There's 2 cards in hand. They could be 2 Frostbites. 2 Frostbites would be counter, but what are the chances they've got 2 Frostbites in hand right now? So, but yes, that is the Slayer deck. Kindred, as I said, when I saw Kindred's release, I was like, I need to do something with this champion. I love Shadow Isles. As I said, there's actually different experimentation I want to do with Kindred as well, because it's just such a good card that can work in potentially a number of different ways. So I honestly cannot wait to start experimenting, but I wanted to get out something for you guys immediately before I go into my crazy experimentation. I wanted to give you guys something, but honestly, thank you all so much for watching. As I said, these games that you saw were streamed on Twitch, so if you want to catch the action live, please feel free to jump by. Link down below to my Twitch stream, as well as, so it's Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays UK time, in terms of the times which are listed on there, as well as the fact that obviously there is the Discord link down below if you want to join that. There is a monthly games night and movie night, so if you want to get involved in those things, get on mic and have a good time, please feel free to, as well as the fact that obviously if you want to check out any Legends of Runeterra merchandise that I hired a graphic artist to, I gave them my ideas that I had in my skull and they made them real, and I literally just bought them all because I love Legends of Runeterra so much that I wanted to wear it. And so if you want to check out some of that stuff, feel free to, but do not feel forced. It is just the options that are available to you. But honest to God, thank you all so much for the support. I hope you have a great day, and until next time, bye.
Flash of brilliance that could save me. Save me! That doesn't save me. Okay. Is there anything from you? Save me. That doesn't save me! Okay. Get rid of this and get rid of this. Find something that can save me.